about my Grandma Lizzie, who was a first-generation American herself. She loved telling me stories about how her parents had left Finland with nothing more than big dreams of a better life. In fact, the main thing on their minds was how they were going to spend the fortune that awaited them in the New World. Everyone in Finland used to say that the sidewalks in America were covered with silver dollars, my Grandma Lizzie loved telling me. All you had to do was bend over and scoop up as many as you wanted. I wish my Grandma Lizzie were still alive today. I would give anything to hear her wonderful stories again. And just think of all the stories I could tell her. Stories about how there's another place where dreams come true, a faraway place across the sea in the old world, a magical place with castles and health care, cafes and free college, demonstrations and endless vacations, where the sidewalks are covered with silver euros, yours for the taking. All you have to do is bend over and scoop them up, assuming you can find them buried deep beneath a pile of dog shit. Of course, France wasn't even on my radar back when I was a kid growing up in small-town Connecticut, and it certainly wasn't a potential travel destination. But thanks to a twist of fate, or two, all that was about to change. My first French memory took place in a swirl of suffocating cigarette smoke. It was Sunday morning, and my dad had just picked up my sisters and me from my Grandma Mary's place. Forced to spend quality time with his kids, my dad dragged us along with him to his favorite pub, the Rustic Bar and Grill. Divorced and digging his new lifestyle as a swinging bachelor, Fast Eddie, as the ladies called him, had just painted his rusty old station wagon a vibrant Van Gogh blue with a bright yellow racing stripe running down the side. As we drove through town in Fast Eddie's slick two-tone chickmobile, my older twin sisters, Colleen and Kathy, slouched in the back seat, hoping none of their friends would see them. Like most teenage girls at the time, they wore their long blonde hair parted in the middle a la Ally McGraw in Love Story, their faces locked into adolescent sneers. I sat in the front seat and could barely breathe as my dad chain-smoked his way through another pack of more cigarettes. Up ahead, my dad spotted two of my sister's friends walking along the sidewalk. He glanced in the rearview mirror. Seeing how embarrassed my sisters were only brought out the devil in Fast Eddie. He slowed the station wagon down, pulling up beside my sister's friends. Then, with a big, shit-eating grin, he started waving and honking his horn. My sisters sank down even lower in their seats, shooting death glares at my dad. That's when I heard Le Français for the first time. Not wanting anyone to understand what they were saying, my sisters turned to each other and began conversing in their newly acquired 7th-grade pidgin French. La famille est... Colleen struggled for just the right French word. Then it hit her. Stupide. Kathy nodded enthusiastically. Ah, oui, très stupide. Oui, oui, beaucoup stupide. Oui, oui, très beaucoup stupide. Oui, 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 stupide, stupide, stupide. As if watching a tennis match, my eyes followed my sisters back and forth. With each oui and stupide, I nodded in wholehearted agreement. Not to brag or anything, but at barely 7 years old, I could totally understand what they were saying. And I hadn't even taken a single French lesson yet. I guess you could say I had a gift for languages right from the start. Fast Eddie, on the other hand, had no clue. Whatever you dingbats are babbling on about, he said, enough already. The girls snickered. Oh la la, papa, pas content. Non, papa was not content at all. In fact, he was furious because he wanted my sisters to take Spanish so they could tell him what the Puerto Rican neighbors were saying about him. As the cacophony of wheeze drifted into the air and joined in a dance with the swirling cigarette smoke, my dad turned to me and said with a stern look, "Don't you ever take that useless language. Comprende?" After such an inauspicious start with the French language, it certainly looked like France just wasn't going to be in my stars. But then, for some reason, events in my life began pushing me toward France again and again, as if I always belonged there, as if there was something more at work.